Oh, motherfucker, you can't have my cornbread. That's for damn sure. Because if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killing spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. If you think about my cornbread, get the taste out your mouth, that's for damn sure. Now, fuck him. Fuck that. Because I'm from New York City, goddammit. Nobody take no cornbread from me. That goes for you and any other you motherfucking farmers wanna try some shit. You fuck around with me, it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
Haters gonna hate.
Yo.
Haters gonna hate.
What's going on, folks? What's going on? It's the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast with Maestro Styles and Trey Frazier here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just a few things. You can follow us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Also on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, as well as the Facebook page. If you want to get in on the show, we have a phone line. You can call 240-532-2718 if you want to talk about anything that's hot right now, whatever's on your mind. And also, we got a chat room, so if you want the chat room, just go to barbershopsportstalkpodcast.com and click on the live feed, and you'll see the chat bubble, and it'll take you right to the chat room to chop it up with us if you want. So forgive us for that previous hiccup right there, but we got everything, up and running right now. So just want to give
check 1 2. We can hear everybody. Everybody can hear us, right?
I hope so.
I see Vince Wright is in the chat room. What's going on?
What's going on, Vince? What's going on, man?
Yeah, man. So we back.
Yeah,
and it's been a minute.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
So we here.
Some good stuff's been happening while we've been going.
A lot of news going on. But I definitely want to, Trey been on the road.
Yep, been on the road. I'll just recap this real quickly. Shout out to Microwave and Mo Cheese.
Yes, sir.
For having me on the show while I was down in Atlanta.
Dak Prescott has had a better career than Carson Wentz.
Say it. Let's say it for the people in the back.
Let's be clear,
please.
That he's had a better career. I thought that was a easy slam dunk, not even a hot take. I thought that was just a regular take.
Yep.
And apparently, it wasn't because it set fish and grits. It set the fish and grits show ablaze. We never got back.
Yeah,
God had to shut it down.
Mo Cheese with the laptop malfunction, but hey, it's all good.
I'm gonna say it's God's plan. I feel like any other week, Mo would have remembered to keep that laptop charged. So I'm saying it was God's plan.
Know, man.
He saw get off the rails. He saw that we couldn't bring John Fish back. That I was drinking 2005 shots of Grey Goose. You know what I'm saying? I think he was gone.
But what was crazy about that sequence, and I'm sitting right there, was that he has the same Windows 10 that, mostly everybody else has if you got Windows. And the message popped up that said, please plug in the battery. Mm-hmm. And it was up there for 1 second. It was up there for 1 second, and he went to go plug it, and poof. The show just, went just like that. So you may be right. It was God's plan, because I've never heard of a laptop to give you a message to plug your laptop, and then all of a sudden it just goes poof like that.
Yeah.
So
but definitely shouts out to Fish and Grits.
Yeah, shouts out to the homies, man.
Y'all look like y'all sound like y'all had a good time, man.
Oh yeah, man. It was fun, man. We had a really, really good time, man. And we ended up starting the show late, but it was still all cool because we had you call in, and then we also had Cool Cell call in for a little bit. It was all fun. Despite the the ending of the show. It was.
Hey
all
man,
good.
look, I think sometimes you gotta have a show go off the rails every now and then.
It's happened to us a couple times in the history of this podcast, right?
I remember a time where me and Trey was arguing over the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers, and Trey Charlie just knocked the whole laptop over and everything.
And it wasn't even intentional.
I mean, I feel like it was, but I get you.
It wasn't even intentional. It was just one of those things, man.
I feel you.
It was just one of those frustrating things, but yeah.
So I mean,
happens a lot.
It's normal. Good content as usual. Shout out to the Fish and Grits show on X Squad Radio, man.
No doubt.
Shouts out to y'all.
Yeah, no doubt.
Shouts out to y'all.
The road trip was fun. Just a couple shout outs. NASCAR Hall of Fame Museum was pretty good. Also, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame was a really good museum to walk through as well. So shout out to two of those places.
I won't harp on it, man. But y'all, if y'all at Trey Frazier, at your own time, I guess, go there and comment on Trey's jump shot. It's the same jump shot since high school, or I guess after we didn't go to high school together. After school, it's the same terrible jump shot. But
look, I'm good for 6 fouls, and I'm the rebound king. That's all I got to say in regard to that.
You still rebound king now?
I'm still the rebound king now.
Hey man,
I'm in the post, man.
Hey,
I bees in the post, man.
I think it's a safe assessment. Your son got a better jump shot.
And I want him to have a better jump shot than me.
Yeah. Well,
I want him to.
Well, he's got it at 4. Let's be very clear.
And I want him to.
All right. Well,
okay.
Let's be very clear.
There's nothing. Look. All dads, if you got kids and you want to see them progress, the whole idea is that you want them to be better at. I mean, really, you want them to be better at life. Period.
Sure, but at 4, you want them to have a better jump shot.
Yes.
All right, brother. I mean,
yes.
I mean, it's not like he got a set form yet. He's not going to shoot like that by the time he's 10.
Sure. But listen, when we were at that court, and I kind of briefly, before we had the hiccup, the hoop that we were shooting at was the highest hoop in the gym. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize there was a lower hoop until after we was all done and we was ready to go.
Yeah.
And I saw the lower hoop, and I was like, oh wow, I really could have took him here. But nonetheless, when we got to the higher hoop, he struggled at first. But then I was like, nah, you gotta keep shooting. You got to keep shooting. You got to keep shooting, and he eventually gained his confidence. And as you saw in the video,
got hot.
He got hot, and he started hitting some shots. Mm-hmm. So ain't no shame, man. Look,
so let me ask you, how old? Because clearly you're not there. Well, let me not say clearly, because I don't know what you do. How old before you go hard on him and playing ball? How old do you have to be
before I go hard on him? I'd say. And I'm just guessing because I really don't know.
Because let me ask you this before you answer. You don't go hard on him now?
No.
Okay.
No. Right. No. But I would have to say by the age of 8, I'd maybe start to go hard on him. Okay. But we'll see how things progress. As he gets older. But I'm going to use age 8 as the barometer at this point. Okay. And we'll see what happens. So. And keep the comments coming. My man's from New York was like, look, man, the jump shot. And I'm like, okay. Look, I keeps it real.
It's bad, man.
I keeps it real, son.
Hey, man. And look, it's not like you're going to the NBA. You ain't got
exactly.
You ain't got to. I mean,
I keeps it real, son.
When you coming from where I'm from, my family lineage, my jump has always been. You know what I'm saying? Quite.
I need to see some video,
quite
bro.
Exquisite. The form is.
I need to see some video, bro.
It's handsome. It's so handsome.
Do we have to do a hashtag jump shot challenge?
Who, between me and you?
Well, in general.
Oh, I mean, if we're just talking about what the jump shot looks like, there's no question who got a prettier looking jump shot. Now, if you were saying you want to see who's a better shooter. We could do that too, but
we could do that too.
Yeah, I mean, we could. I mean, we got to figure out how to make it happen, but we could definitely do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
we definitely got to do that.
I'm pretty confident my jump is still better than yours.
Because all these cats out here, you know,
and I'm certainly confident my form is better than yours. There's no argument there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with that.
That's not even.
Now, if we want to talk about shots, knocking shots down,
I don't even think
who can knock the most shots down. I'm down for that challenge too.
Yeah, I mean, you should be, Trey. You should be.
Because listen,
but we know who's. And let's be clear, because and we won't dive too deep in our back in the day when we all used to ball,
right?
But if we're looking at the terms of who was the offensive threat in their day,
it's you.
Yeah, okay. I'm not even the highest.
Again,
I'm not even the highest in our crew. I'm just saying,
right?
Yeah.
Again. I stay in the post, okay? Yeah. Again, I'm not portraying me to be this, you know, like I got the handles and the back, the back, we could do passes and stuff.
We could do that one day.
Yeah,
we could do that before it get cold outside.
Yeah. We definitely gotta, put some content out there, man. Because everybody that's been, putting their messages and, the criticism. Hey, where your videos at? That's all I gotta say about that, man. Just put them out there, man. Holla at me at Trey Frazier, bro. Holla at the kid, man.
So I guess it's time to get to the shit.
Yeah, let's get to it, man.
Let's get to it. So
let's get to
Roc Nation, Jay-Z team up with the NFL. As far as we know right now, they team up to do to control like halftime shows at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They did say something about working on an initiative to raise awareness and to actually do some things as far as social injustices and making sure that the NFL recognizes that there are social injustices and trying to come up with some possible solutions to some of these things that are happening in the community. And Jay-Z met with Roger Goodell. Charlamagne was there. I think I seen Angie Martinez was there. There was a actual meeting with or let's say a press conference. Let's say more of that. Yeah. But it felt like an informal sit down where people could ask Jay-Z questions about why this was happening and what was going on. Obviously, the video was viral. I guess what are your thoughts on Jay-Z teaming up with the NFL?
My thoughts on it is simply this. For me, this is not a slam dunk. The way that I believe that folks who are, and let me be clear, I'm a big Jay-Z fan as well as you're a big Jay-Z fan. We're all Jay-Z fans on this show, so I don't want to get that misconstrued. I don't think this is a slam dunk, and obviously we have to wait and see exactly what the plan is and what's going to take place moving forward. But I just want to remind people that about a year ago, it was the NFL offseason, and the NFL decided that it wanted to mandate a rule that players can't kneel during the national anthem, which tells me that the NFL still doesn't give a damn about the black community, its plights, social injustice, and things like that. When you look at other leagues, and I'll use the NBA as an example, while the NBA has their mandate, and they've had the mandate for a long time, they've also allowed their players to be optically pressing about their issues, i.e. the Trayvon Martin situation with the Miami Heat and what they did, Donald Sterling when all that came out and the players took off their jerseys with the name on it and everything like that. The NBA optically allows players to express themselves in a positive manner and to give their thoughts about how they feel about social injustice and things that plague this community. The NFL still to this day does not allow their players to do that, and I'll give you an example. I was watching the Hall of Fame game, which was I think it was Denver and Atlanta a few weeks ago, and obviously they had the NFL Hall of Fame inductees present there, and they were interviewing each one by one. Ed Reed, who decided to be different, and Ed Reed has always been this cat. He's been different throughout his career. Decided to wear a T-shirt with the faces of Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, and a few others that have been victims and, no longer here due to police brutality against black people. The cameras decided to just square up on Ed Reed's face when they were interviewing him, and not.
I noticed that. I didn't watch it, but
and not show head to waist. Yeah, because the players that they interviewed prior to him, they showed from head to the shirt, and everybody else had the NFL, I guess, the 100-year anniversary shirt and all that.
That's disgusting.
So yes, so clearly there's evidence that the league still doesn't care about these types of issues.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for that for a second. And so what were the other players wearing?
They had on it was a polo shirt with, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 100
but NFL sanctioned
logo.
Stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how would you say? How much of and by the way, I agree with everything you're saying. Mm-hmm. How much of them cropping out Ed Reed's shirt was, them not caring about social injustices versus them just not showing, unsanctioned NFL, like this is not NFL related, so that's why we're not showing it, as opposed to us not caring about black man's plight. And by the way, I agree, we don't care about the black man. They don't care about the black man's plight.
Right, and I wish I had more examples of players that have worn other things that's not NFL paraphernalia to kind of back your point. Yeah. I wish I had more evidence of that. Yeah. But I don't have that, and I'm just going off of what I saw.
We're in agreement, but there's always going to be somebody that says, well, what about? And the reason why I always try to see it from the other side is because sometimes that gains an advantage in what your agenda is, and then two, sometimes you might just be wrong. And I'm open to being wrong. So I always try to look at it from both sides. I see that Ninja was going on talking about no need for the other side.
What up, Ninja?
I think the NFL is racist, but it's always interesting, I think.
You're saying that there's a possible protocol.
I'm saying that I'm opening the floor for dialogue. That's what I'm doing.
No, that's fair. Yeah. That's fine. That's certainly fine. And, everybody can have their own opinions.
Like, I wish we had a racist that could, I guess answer us, but...
Yeah, sure. No, I totally, understand that point of it. But from what I saw, it appeared to me that they did not want to show Ed Reed's shirt because they didn't want the conversation to be about what Ed Reed was wearing and what that implicated. That's what I got from it.
Okay. I probably would have got the same thing. And when you said it to me, because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know that game was on that Thursday night. Mm-hmm. But
they changed it up a little bit because that's usually a Sunday game. I didn't know
that game was on at all. Yeah. I was doing whatever I was doing that night, and I saw. and I was like, oh shit. Well, I'm not about to cut it on now because I was in.
Sure.
I was in doing whatever I was doing that night.
They flipped it on us a little bit because that game is normally on a Sunday night before the preseason starts, but they flipped it this time. But yeah, I watched that, and that was sort of my immediate reaction, is that they didn't want this conversation about the victims to be a topic. So, but to tie this in with Jay-Z and the NFL and everything that I said in regards to how they feel about us in the community, sort of ties into this in a sense that I want to remind people that the NFL still doesn't care about this. Mm-hmm. So when Jay-Z sits there and Charlemagne asks the question, and I'm paraphrasing, hey, are you going to kneel or are you going to stand? How do you feel about kneeling up to this point? Mm-hmm. And again, I'm paraphrasing the question because I can't remember exactly what he said.
But you're spot
on. Jay-Z sort of kind of hesitated a little bit, and then he went on to answer and say, hey, we're beyond kneeling, it's time for some action. I thought that was sort of the wrong approach to how he answered that. And here's why. A lot of folks want action for social injustice, and I agree. Yes, there needs to be actions taken towards this. But when you say we're beyond kneeling, it sort of gives the message that you're in agreement with the mandate that the NFL was trying to put in place. If they didn't try, they did a year ago, where they were trying to say players shouldn't kneel for the anthem. And here's also another reason why I say that. There's more causes that plague us as a community other than social injustice and police brutality.
Say that one more time.
There's more causes that plague us than just social injustice and police brutality.
Okay.
And I'll just use one, slight example, and something that, me and the family have kind of gone through. We pay $27,000 to $28,000 a year for childcare per year. And normally when you file taxes, that's supposed to be a credit. You get a credit for your child, and then you also get another credit for, I guess, the tuition that you pay throughout the year for your kids. What we learned this year is that we don't get the credit because we're over a certain threshold in terms of AGI, which is adjusted gross income, whatever. So that's something that, I'm not feeling that. And that's just me personally. I don't know how other people feel about it, but if I was a player in the league and taxes and things like that affect us financially, if I felt like that was a big deal to me, then I would kneel, I would bring attention to it, and in a similar way that Colin Kaepernick brought attention to social injustice, because remember, they asked him about it. Nobody really paid much attention until a reporter asked him about it. If that same thing happened to me and someone asked me, hey, what were you doing there? I would mention something about, hey, look, man, we pay too much damn taxes, man. I'm paying $30,000 for child care throughout the year. I don't get no credits back. Hey, something got to be done. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's just an example. So just so folks don't get it construed, the kneeling is important. The kneeling is important, and it still needs to be allowed because it's still a constitutional right. And that's what the NFL was trying to take away from these players. They were basically trying to do that by mandating this rule. So that's why when Jay-Z says, hey, we're beyond kneeling, he might be thinking, hey, we're beyond kneeling in the case of social injustice, but in the grand scheme of things, we're not beyond kneeling because there may be other causes that players want to bring attention to and awareness to. Okay.
So I think you missed a part of a part of that video.
The press conference.
Yes.
Okay.
He said that question was asked. He said he's paused. And not only do I think you missed a part of the conversation, but I also think you took his pause the wrong way. Like when he paused and kind of looked at the white dude.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Jay-Z, we are past kneeling. That doesn't mean that kneeling shouldn't happen. And in the video, they asked him, well, are you saying they shouldn't kneel? He said no.
Right.
We should kneel. That's our God-given right. Nobody's saying don't kneel. I'm saying, or Jay-Z's saying, that we're at a point in time where we're aware. You know what the problem is? Cool. You know what the problem is? Cool. All right. So we know what the problem is. The protest worked.
Yes.
What is happening next? And he's suggesting that this partnership or hiring or whatever it is, and it's important to know whether it's a hiring or a partnership.
Right.
They're phrasing it as a partnership. Kind of feels like a hiring based on the details they've said so far.
Right.
I don't want to go there. But he's not saying don't kneel. He's saying now it's time. What happens now? And he said it in the video. What happens now? We've kneeled. We're doing it. We're kneeling. Yep. What's happening now? What's going to happen? Nothing has happened since we've kneeled outside of the fact that Colin Kaepernick lost his job. So, that's the, that's what he was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like your example, but that's going to tie into
it's an example.
Yeah,
it's an example.
I know, so
but it pertains to me. So whether people like it or not, it pertains to me. Well,
sure, but then the conversation, and this is kind of I think it's comfortable. I'm confident in saying this has kind of become not uncomfortable, an awkward podcast, because I feel like I've been nitpicking you. And what in your mind, what's more important, black people being killed, or the slowing down of black people being killed unjustly, or taxes?
Oh, there's no debate.
Yeah, right. And
there's no debate, but that's not what this is about.
I know. I'm 100. I'm just trying to. I just wanted to make sure that consumers heard you say that, listeners heard you say that, because I could see how that comes back as you comparing social injustice to taxes.
Well, but that's why I brought up a year ago the league trying to keep players from exercising their constitutional right. I think that's important to bring up.
Yeah. Well, and again, Jay-Z never said stop protesting. Mm-hmm. He says, I think we're past that.
Sure.
That doesn't mean
but
that...
I can understand how some people might misconstrue that. And look, people have...
But I think the only people that are misconstruing that are people who didn't listen to the whole entire interview.
I agree with part. I agree with part of that.
No, protest. He clearly said,
sure.
In that same...
Sure.
In that
I agree with that, but then you have other people that just don't like this move either. Now... Just so I can let me finish my point real quick on the Jay-Z side of things. With that being said, I'm not going to call Jay-Z a coon on this. I mean, there's people out there who are already calling him names, bashing him about this situation. Jay-Z has done enough in the community when it comes to being aware of the issues that plague us as a community. We can talk about the Reform program with Meek Mill. We can talk about the documentaries that he helped executive produce.
Khalif Browder working on Trayvon Martin.
Yes. I mean, we can talk about so many different things. And if you guys, if you non-Jay-Z or the people that disagree with this movement, if you guys want to bring up what happened between him and Dame years ago, how him and State Property fell apart, if you guys want to bring all that up, hell, even if you want to bring up the whole thing with him and Jermaine Dupri, because there's a story out there that Jermaine Dupri was
Michael Brian Cox, who's a well-known producer, came out and said that a year ago Jay-Z told JD not to take this deal,
right?
And then a year later he takes this deal,
right. If you guys want to bring that up, fine, but I'm giving Jay-Z the benefit of the doubt here that he's not going to sell us out. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but let's be clear about one thing here. The NFL still to this day doesn't give a damn about social causes within the African American community.
So why hire Jay-Z and give him a job? And I'm asking for your opinion, not because I'm not here to give you my opinion yet.
Right.
Why does the NFL do this?
The NFL does this to basically cover up everything, and maybe not everything, but cover up what's been taking place with Kaepernick not having a job. And we didn't even mention the Eric Reed sort of portion of this.
Or Nesta.
Or Ness Nitty, getting involved with the back and forth. We didn't even touch on that. But I think for the NFL, this is sort of a cover-up to the issues that have been sort of circulating, the news for the last 3 years. It's Kaepernick not being employed by the NFL. It's the fact that white guys like Nathan Peterman, who I think should be my accountant, still have a job as quarterback in this league. When I think about this past year's draft and the Giants passing over Dwayne Haskins to pick up a guy from what Daniel Jones play for? I don't remember.
Kentucky, I think, or Duke.
Duke. The pass over Haskins, who's played at a high-profile university, for a guy that I didn't even know was on anybody's radar with the first pick. Come on, that to me that's political. It's white supremacy. It's all that, man. And the NFL is just using to me the NFL's approach to this is we get to act like we give a damn about the causes that plague the African American community because we have a face that can now take the pressure off of us while we getting this money.
So, my second question is, do you think that Jay-Z has done something wrong to Colin Kaepernick?
I do not think Jay-Z's done anything wrong to Colin Kaepernick. If Jay-Z wants to partner up with the NFL in whatever capacity that is, he has the right to do so. Now, I'll say this also. If Kaepernick comes out and he says, hey, look, I got a problem with Jay-Z doing this, or, Eric Reed, made mention about him in this partnership. Hey, Eric Reed has a right, to express his opinion about that. He has every right to feel the way he feels. Mm-hmm. Eric Reed kneeled, lost a job, been out of work for a while, and got rehired again.
And got settlement money.
And is still
got a new
kneeling.
Contract.
So, yeah. So, Eric Reed, I'm not bashing Eric Reed on anything. Eric Reed deserves all of my respect. So, as far as these guys are concerned, I think these guys are going to move the way they want to move, man. Jay-Z can move however he wants to move. The dude he's a billionaire.
I think that I think I heard DL Hughley say it this morning.
Uh-huh.
And look, if you all are working, this whole Jay-Z versus Colin Kaepernick and who's selling who out and all this,
right?
It's kind of crazy for a lot of reasons. One, in regards to Jay-Z selling out Colin Kaepernick, Colin Kaepernick sued the NFL for
being out of work,
for them colluding to keeping him out of a job.
Yep.
He settled.
Yep.
And in that settlement, he's not allowed to say anything.
Right.
He can't say nothing.
Right.
He can't talk about why he thought he was being colluded against.
Right.
He can't talk about who he thought was colluding against him.
Yep.
He can't talk about. He can't. And we talked about we've had this conversation. Colin Kaepernick could have very well been the flat out reason, the flat out expose. Without all the speculation and all we know that the NFL is racist, he was the receipt. He could have been the receipt as to why this NFL was racist and as to why we should really not be supporting this product.
Right.
And as to why he could have been that guy. Mm-hmm. And this settlement, whether people like it or not, and I'm not saying he did the right or wrong thing, but.
And I think people question the settlement because
we don't know the details. I'm not trying to sit here and say that Colin Kaepernick sold us out. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to say that whatever was discussed in that office was enough for him to say, all right, cool. I don't know what was said. I don't know what was done. I don't know what the NFL. For all the hell we know, he could have been like, hey, what if we start bringing in some influential black people to help us out with this situation? Would you be cool with that?
Right.
And he said, yeah. And then with the money, then that could have been what he accepted in those terms for him to not speak. That could have been the case.
It could have been.
So I'm not going to speak to did he sell out or did he not sell out. I'm gonna say that because he took this settlement,
right,
he can't talk. We don't know what happened or why it happened or how it happened. Right. We don't know.
So how does that, in your eyes, with all that being said, what, in your opinion, is that connected to the Jay-Z partnership?
Jay-Z there's no way Jay-Z sold him out if he couldn't say nothing or do nothing about it anyway.
Okay, got you.
And let's be very clear. How many bum quarterbacks have we seen been hired before this dude? Let's be clear.
Yeah, I've talked about it.
He's not getting hired.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as he wants to play,
mm-hmm.
and I believe he wants to play, I think he recognizes that there's a very high probability that he's never going to play again because of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry you had to be the sacrificial lamb, but you spoke out. You just had to ride.
Mm-hmm.
You started something,
and I appreciate Kaepernick for that.
And he's very well started something that has implored people to boycott the product, meaning the NFL. Remember, there were a ton of people who weren't watching the NFL for a year
mm-hmm.
and started watching when he settled out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As a sense of closure,
right.
for him being colluded against.
Right.
For him being so there are things that have happened because of what he's done that has been positive. I think this Jay-Z hiring is a positive hiring. We just don't know what's going to come from this positive hiring.
Yeah,
this is a good idea. Not necessarily. It's a good idea for both parties. Jay-Z has an opportunity. Here's the thing. Jay-Z has an opportunity to make change. And is he going to make change? Remains to be seen. I'm going to say remains to be seen. And I don't want to put the negative stigma on it. I'm going to say remains to be seen.
Right. And I think the other important question to that is how long is the process going to be to whatever the plan that he has mapped out is going to be. I think that's important as well because...
But even if it's just him being in those offices or being in some type of an office where he can hear what's going on before it actually happens,
right.
and being able to say, hey, don't do it like that because this...
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is some type of an influence.
Mm-hmm.
I think...
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that smart. I think... So, okay, I pose it this way. Why do black people join politics, get involved in politics?
Oh, because they want to make some change.
They want to make a change. And they recognize that the best way to make change is to play the game.
Right.
Get into the system.
The term that's being put out there is have a seat at the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't see how this Jay-Z's not a politician. Jay-Z's an entertainer.
Right.
Why not get involved in the biggest entertainment money train in America? And why not get a seat at that table and promote change that way? Right.
And if he's getting the bag, he's getting the bag. Ain't nothing wrong with anybody getting the bag. I'm not going to downplay a black man because he's trying to get his money. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business. But I'm at a wait and see approach with this. Because again, at the end of the day, and I'm gonna keep bringing the NFL back into this. I'm gonna bring their side back into it. They still don't, their motivation. The NFL's motivation, including the owners, the people at the top. The motivation for them is money, 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 money. And so whatever generates that, they gonna move.
Yeah.
If it ain't got nothing to do with green, then you can forget it.
And that's true. But don't let that. I guess don't let that dissuade you from the fact that Jay-Z might have been the wrong black nigga to hire.
Yeah, and that's my point.
When I mean the wrong black nigga to hire,
right?
Meaning Jay-Z ain't. Let me say, Jay-Z's track record has shown that he's not about to just sit down and let y'all do what the fuck y'all want to do. Without, I mean, if this thing, obviously there's some things he can't control.
Right.
But check his track record. There hasn't been a situation where Jay-Z either made change or made enough noise to expose that, this is the problem.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So give him that respect.
Yep.
That there has the only negative thing that I've heard that's really relevant to this situation that Jay-Z has done negatively is that when he took on the Brooklyn Nets
I was just gonna bring
situation, that he said that he was going to bring more jobs and that he was going to bring affordable housing to that area, and that he left before affordable housing happened. It's probably clear that they're not going to push that affordable housing agenda without Jay-Z having that seat at the table.
I got a response to that, and before I do that, let me because the chat room is pretty hot right now. That Ninja's in here. I see Melvin up in here. I see that dude Shaka. I see Big Kev 303. I also see Shelly Q, Vince Wright. We shouted you out earlier. We got Tiffany Sports and Heels. How you doing? That Ninja, I'm gonna, and here comes Kevin Gray from Clutch Conversations here. I wanted to read something here from that Ninja. He says, "Is it documented that he can't talk? He being Kaepernick, or is it that some random shit that everybody has just decided to start talking about?" Well, that Ninja, let me ask you a question. Has Kaepernick come out and said anything in regards to the settlement?
Well, that don't necessarily mean that he was silenced. But I feel like I've read that he was silent, that he was not allowed to speak on the details of the settlement, and he was not allowed to speak on what happened. That's what I read. I don't remember whether the source was credible or not.
Right.
And I'm being transparent so you could get an answer. Because if you're implying that that he's allowed to speak about it, he's allowed to talk about.
I'm trying to. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, I know. I was getting you there. If you're implying that, then the proof is in what you said. Why hasn't he?
Right.
What reason do you have? He settled last year. This has been going on for 3 years.
Right.
What reason do you have not to air it out?
Right.
What reason do you have to not air it out?
Because what did we argue when it first happened? We said, hey, Colin Kaepernick might have some dirt on the NFL, and that's why they're saying, here, we're going to settle for this amount of money under these conditions. You can't say nothing or anything that's in this room out in the open.
Yeah.
Why is that? Does Kaepernick have dirt on the league that he could expose?
Yeah,
maybe.
And I'm telling you, obviously I don't know all the details. I ain't there.
Right.
It feels to me that, because I remember the reports, they said he had emails. They said he had evidence that would bust this motherfucker open.
Right.
And then he settled. So, in my mind, if you had that, either you were lying, and I don't think he's a liar, I don't know, but I don't think he's a liar.
Right.
If you had that evidence that was going to bust the NFL open, this is the very difference between the NFL being racist, and at highest possibility and positive possibilities, the NFL being taken over by somebody who's not racist. Like, this is, we talking about, like, everybody talking about, they ask if they want revolution. Everybody want that. Everybody want us to not be racist, and, want white people to not be racist, and want us to be equal, and we want to sit at the table, this and that. He had evidence, allegedly, that could have opened those floodgates for those types of conversations in the same vein that Donald Sterling got the fuck up out of here. In that same vein, but for the entire league. That opens conversation. Now, if he was scared for his life, because that's a real conversation.
That's a conversation to have, yeah.
But still, and I'm not saying, again, I'm not criticizing him for taking a settlement. Because if you're talking about life or death, nigga, like, you could have just, like, nigga, like, I would probably take the $10 million as opposed to getting killed trying to prove that the people are racist when we all believe that the people are racist. You get what I'm saying? So I get it. But take the settlement, and now the awareness is raised. We know what's going on. They don't want us to kneel. They want, and we're not patronizing their product to a % that they don't like. Because clearly, if we believe that Jay-Z doing this is a cop out, then clearly we believe that. Hold on, we got a call.
Press
1. Sorry, I'm pressing the wrong button. Caller, what up?
Hey, what's going on, man? Trey and my show was that.
What's going on, man?
That ninja, what up, man?
You booming in the chat room, and I'm glad it's you. I'm glad it's you, man. Let's talk about it.
All right. First and foremost, I'm in a work truck now at the work. Like, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Fine. We got you, man.
Okay. All right. Hey, look. I'm sure y'all are well intended. I know y'all are just having a discussion, but just because of the way I'm built and the way I'm looking at the situation, y'all are killing me. Can I explain why?
Go ahead.
Okay, first and foremost, when you say that Kaepernick to the settlement, and I think a lot of the subject matter is not relevant, depending on what we're doing now, we're just having a dialogue and discussing random things, then it is what it is. There is no off subject matter. If we're actually talking about what the issue is, then this conversation has nothing to do with talking about the issue. Now, as far as Kaepernick,
hold on. I want to hear. I do want to hear your point, but to answer your question, y'all having dialogue. Yeah. But I do want to hear your point.
Okay. Now, the thing about since we're having dialogue, let me just say this: so you're talking about Kaepernick and you're saying he got a settlement. Lack of details only have the wicked. Why did he get a settlement? I keep hearing he got a settlement, he got money, and he's being quiet. But the one thing I haven't heard is why did he get the settlement?
I can answer that.
He got a settlement. Well, yeah, but let me just say this. I think what I'm trying to say is that, or not what I'm trying to say. I think my issue is that not. I don't think you're doing it purposely, but you're being very detailed about the fact that he's being quiet. He had to be quiet. He can't say anything. There's a gag order. He got paid this much money, but nobody's saying he got paid because the NFL hated the fact that he said, "Hey, excuse me, we're getting killed in America for no reason. Do you mind terribly not doing that?" Because he dared to say that. They hated that so much, get the fuck out of our league. That's why they paid him. When we talk about it, it should be the NFL hated the fact that he pointed out black people get murdered so much that they kicked him the fuck out the NFL to let everybody else know, nigga, you better not do it either.
So
what the hell. That's what happened. And we're being light as hell about that. We're making sure we mention the cat got a settlement. And he got a gag order, but we're not talking about why they had to pay him. They paid him because they put him out the league for murder, for drugs? No, because he said, "Hey, can you stop selling us, please?" That's why they kicked him out the NFL. That's the subject matter. They hate the fact that we're asking to not be killed so much. Not fighting back with physicalness. Excuse me, that's not a word. Not fighting back physically over fucking some type of militia, which we should be doing, protesting and shit. And they have such a problem with that. Get the fuck out of our league.
So let me.
That's the damn. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
So you're saying that they paid him to, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're telling me. They paid him to say, "Get out of our league."
No, again, I think you're missing the lead. You're missing the lead. They had to pay him. Nobody just says, "Okay, I'm just gonna get us some niggas some hush money." They had no choice but to pay him because they wrongfully put him out the league again for saying black people shouldn't be killed by the police, and here's why. He spoke articulately about it. He gave facts, and they said, "Okay, get the fuck out the league." That's really what's being lost. So how can you even have that mentality? It's because you agree with it and you're racist and you're fucked up. That's where the subject matter starts. Where the subject matter starts. Go ahead, sir.
I think that you're right in that they're racist. You're right in that they wanted them out of the league. But they, for all intents and purposes, when he filed the grievance, he was out of the league. So they could have just went through the court process and seen what happened. And really, even if they, saw that the NFL was guilty of blackballing him, they still don't have to let him in his league per se. Like there's so for all intents and purposes, to your argument, he was already out of the league, so they didn't have to pay him a dime.
Well, see, this thing about it though, they paid him because they did put him out the league because he was in there. Like I'm still trying to figure out your angle. Well, not necessarily the angle. Like it isn't really an argument. I'm talking about when we talk about this Kaepernick thing. In my opinion, I'm going to tell you what I think. Sure. Because you basically hear it talked about in this way, it's the way you're talking about it. That's not the lead. Is not Cap is being quiet. Why didn't he put this information? It was Cap's fault. These racist motherfuckers are not Cap's fault. They put him out the league because he's there to speak up on the issue. They had to pay him because they put him out the league for that issue, and they just didn't want the pub. From there, the subject matter is, from there, just give me 1 second. From there, to me, I don't see how we keep going back to, well, Cap did this. Well, you think he took the settlement? It's not relevant. Cap's not playing football because he said, stop killing us. That's who the fuck runs the league. From there, where does the conversation go? I know with the whip program to say, we're not going to shit on white people. Let's just keep shit on a nigga. How about we have a 15-minute conversation where we talk about all the negative shit white people do without one time going back and say, well, this nigga did this. Let's just do that shit for 15 minutes without saying one time, well, you know, niggas do this. Well, let's look at this out of it. Let's just go 15 minutes talking about them and what they did. It's real easy. I can show you how. Right here with the cabinet shit, they put him out the league for no reason. Y'all were making another point about Jay-Z. My thing about Jay-Z, dude, the whole seat at the table thing, any job and or position that doesn't allow you to be a black man does not benefit black people. If he wants to make his money and be a hustler and make your money. He's not fixing shit. He's not trying to. He's not that goddamn stupid. No one person, Jay-Z, any one man, reincarnate Dr. King, no one fucking man is going to come into any racist organization and make them act like. You know why? Because they don't want to. This is bread and circuses. This is Novocaine, so niggas will suffer peacefully. This is not even how you fix anything. This is to say, we got a nigga here, we like y'all too. Shut the fuck up, please. They've been doing this shit since the fucking 40s and 50s. This is an old trick. There should not be a discussion about what the Jay-Z doing. The discussion should be, why do these motherfuckers keep disrespecting us and thinking that if you hire a nigga, he's going to fix everything?
Well, we know why they do that.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm gonna let Trey. I'm gonna let Trey again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, most of what you said, Ninja, I agree with you 100% in regards to the conversation that needs to be had, and it's that the NFL, the NFL blackballed Colin Kaepernick.
Sir, not to interrupt you, whiteball.
Okay.
To say blackball because the term is to insinuate something negative and a devious act towards another person. If you look at the history of the country, that doesn't have shit to do with it.
Okay.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my bad. So go ahead, man.
No. It's all good. So Ninja, I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Number one. So with the Kaepernick settlement, you don't think that there was a possibility that Colin Kaepernick had some dirt on the NFL that he could have exposed this league, thus why there was this confidentiality agreement between the two parties?
Well, at the moment, I don't know for a fact that there is one, but if we're going to have that subject matter, it's possible. Now, if you're working this around and say, how come he just didn't go to court to try to expose them, I can answer that easily. You got a crooked system, and if you can watch a murder on video and they let that off, if you can watch Feinstein do what he does and they just kill him in jail or just send him off somewhere, they don't care about the law, so he can go to the court system. He knows they're going to fuck him over. So you take that money and try to do something positive with it if we're going to talk about that aspect of it. Now, I'm not really sure. To be honest, I haven't thought about it much. To be honest, I don't even think it's a same thing. I don't think the NFL paid him money for nothing. They paid, to me, again, I think we need to emphasize, they paid Colin Kaepernick because they kicked him out the league because he dared to say, we're being killed in the country, do you mind stopping? And that pissed them off so much, they said, nigga, get out our league.
Well, see,
I really think we need to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
I really think we need to remember that.
I disagree with that point because, again...
Okay, before you go, which point do you disagree with?
Gotcha. They kicked him out. You said they kicked him out of they paid him because they kicked him out of the league. And like, as if to say that they had to, as if to say that the NFL had to pay Colin Kaepernick some type of a severance package. They don't have to do that. It's too many...
No, it's not a Okay, go ahead.
They don't have to do that. They like I said, as the timeline happened, he was kneeling. He opted out of his contract, and again, let's be very.
Oh my God, Mike! So wait! Oh my dear God! Hey, Mike, so later there, Bubba. Why did you get that mainstream talking point? Why did you go out of your way to just say he opted out of the contract, like saying, "Well, he did fuck himself up. He opted out of the contract." You things like that.
No, you missing my point.
You missing my point.
No. It's important. It's important to say.
Okay, go ahead.
It's important to say not because it's not about me saying that Kaepernick made a mistake. It's about me saying that in a crooked court system, like, and we all agree that the court system is correct. When they say present, when they say present your rebuttal to what his claims are, they're going to say, well, first off, he might have had a contract with the 49ers. He opted out. That's not relevant. Why is that not relevant? Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no, I'll give it back to you. Why is that not relevant? Why is that not relevant relevance in the sense of the white people or the racist NFL saying, well, this wasn't us blackballing or whiteballing him, as you like to say. This wasn't whiteballing him because he had an opportunity to play with the 49ers the next year. He opted out.
Dude, okay. Well, honestly, I mean, the entire question is kind of irrelevant. Like, I don't get why we're still on this subject matter, talking about what it is. But if we're going to talk about this again, he's out of the league because he said, stop killing us in the streets. That's why they put him out the league.
I agree with you there.
Okay, but see, this is my thing, Mike. So, do you think the NFL just paid that nigga for the fuck of it? They paid him because they paid him because he had something on there. But again, none of this is relevant. This is not about Jay or Cap. It's about the NFL using brand services. Me and you are sitting here talking about fucking Cap and Jay. We're not saying why are these motherfuckers so terribly raised and racist pieces of shit that they can't stand us saying we don't like being killed. We're not even killing motherfuckers like we should be. We're not slitting motherfuckers' throats. We're simply speaking and saying, hey, there is a fucking problem with the police department. Can you fix it? And their damn answer is, there's no problem with the police. We just need to have dialogue. That game has been getting run since the 20s. That's what the issue is. Now, as far as like the Cap thing, now you're saying you disagree that they put him out the lead for his protest, and that's why they paid him. They paid him because they didn't want that evidence, I'm assuming, to come out, but they paid him because they were wrong. If they thought they could have won in court, they wouldn't have paid him. So whatever the hell it was, they paid them. But again, I don't think this subject matter is relevant. And I think it's an irrelevant semantic as far as what like the semantic of I still can't believe you keep talking about the opt-out thing. That is such a...
Well, I
want to clear this up.
I don't mean to, but
go ahead, Maestro. My bad, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So, and I don't want to keep beating the dead horse because we disagree. I just wanted your point to be heard. So two things. One, I don't agree with the sentiment of. And this is just Maestro Styles. This is Maestro Styles' thoughts. This ain't nobody else's. See, my thing is that I know white people are racist. I know they hate us. I know all of that. There is nothing that we can do to change that. They're always going to. They always going to want to kill us. They always going to want to keep us at the bottom of the barrel. So So I feel like to keep saying they racist, that's what's beating the dead horse to me. To me, I feel like because I believe my ideology is that like in anything I do, I'm not competing against the next man. I'm competing with myself and whoever in my way while I'm getting better and passing niggas. That's the niggas and white people that I'm passing. But it's not about trying to change people. You can't change people. All you could do is get better and put yourself in a situation where they have no choice. They gotta bend to your whim because what you're presenting is so powerful that they have no choice. And that's why I know in my heart that the Colin Kaepernick's protest was successful because now they feel like, let's find a way to try to trick these niggas because now we've caused such an uproar. Niggas not watching the football for years and all of that. They doing that because, we know we need this fan base. We know we need this fan base. So how do we win them back? Let's get the biggest motherfucker in entertainment with some common sense. Bring him in. Everybody gonna jump on. I think what the NFL is sleeping on is how intelligent and how much power Jay-Z has to our culture. And so when you talk about what Jay-Z brings to our culture, Jay-Z is not, Jay-Z is just at a physical specimen. Jay-Z is an old nigga that is making billions of who's a billionaire. Let's say millions of dollars. He's making millions of dollars. So that's, first of all, that money speaks for something. First of all, second of all, nobody.
Whoa. I don't want to get. Don't lose your thought. What does the money speak for? The money speaks for what he's accomplished in his life. Is that
No. I'm saying white people respect money. Oh,
that's what you're. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. Go ahead, because I have some points to make on that, but I want you to continue. Go ahead. I'm just taking notes.
So what? Getting back. So I'm saying that white people. Well, I think what they're underestimating, or possibly, let me say possibly underestimating, because we don't know. There's a very good possibility that Jay-Z gonna get into this and nothing's gonna happen, and that's very possible. I am very cognizant of that. But if there is anybody in entertainment that I would pick for this situation, it's Jay-Z. When has Jay-Z failed our culture? There's never been a time outside of the Brooklyn Net time, and that's really depending on how you look at the situation.
And you know what? I got to defend that for a second, but go ahead.
Only that he's let down this culture, and he if anybody deserves a shot to play games. It's like what happens because we don't. It's like we want change, but we don't believe nobody can make change. So what the fuck are we trying for?
Okay, interesting. Okay, I got you there. Now, to your first point about, I know why people are racist, you know what I'm saying, but instead of talking about they're racist, you know, okay, I got you on that. Let me combat you on that first and foremost. First and foremost, I think that the trick, their game, the reason how they win is to say, you know what, they do it so much, fuck it, we're going to let it go. You never stop talking about it, because there are dumb ninjas right now that don't think there's racism. They don't think there's a we and a us.
Can I cut you off? Real quick? Yeah. I think that those people aren't in position to make change either, though.
Well, okay. Look, they're not, but neither are we necessarily. But they're out here with me and you, so they're a part of our life.
Okay, respect.
You know, the overall mental collective, and I understand some of the points you were making. I guess the way I look at it, and like you said, different perspectives. You know, you have to be able to make yourself uncomfortable in a conversation to gain a higher perspective. So, you know, I understand listening to another person's point. Let me say this about mentioning race. I think that the trick and the way they win is for people to get so tired of what they do that not only do you stop talking about it, you get frustrated with people that do bring it up, as opposed to getting frustrated with the people that are doing the dirt. And I think that intentionally or unintentionally happens because people get so tired and frustrated, because technically, what can you do? If you're not really willing to buzz up and start taking motherfuckers out, or at least hurting the motherfucker pretty good, what can you really do? You can't reach out and grab the motherfucker doing that dirt. The only person that's around you is another ninja. Fuck it, let me talk about this ninja. So I really, and another thing before I move on, I don't want to bog anything down. My issue, not my issue, but when I'm in a situation with a conversation, I'm projecting. So I should apologize for that. I'm not thinking about the moment.
Yeah, you ain't got to worry about that.
I'm not even thinking about the moment. I'm thinking about the repercussions of this fucking of what's going on right now in the future. Yeah. You know, so I should stay in the conversation. So when I like with Jay-Z, and you know, saying he's a billionaire, he's made these moves. You know, when has he let the culture down? I can tell you when Jay-Z let the culture down. When he was in that room and he was asked about the issue and he talked around it in a PC manner. This is just my opinion. No matter, a seat at the table is not relevant if that seat at that table does not allow you to be a black man. If you have to bite your tongue, every other race is proud of their race. We're the only race, because white America expects us to be a bastardized version of themselves, that they don't. We're the only race where you're supposed to not talk black, and people are so trained now that because when I do it so much, it makes motherfuckers uncomfortable, because I'm going to fight that shit because everybody else does it. White people do it just silently. Their actions tell you we care about us. But if we do that, everybody.
I don't.
I'm just saying in the sense that, I'm saying in the sense that we're not allowed to speak out for black people. So the problem with that is when Jay-Z doesn't do it, everybody makes fucking excuses. I promise y'all, if he's not willing, you have to do a couple things. One, you have to say the problem out loud. And the problem is, y'all dislike this ninja. Y'all dislike protests more than you do the fucking murder. Let's just keep it light. Let's not be really so blatant about it. Let's just say this. Y'all hate these ninjas protesting more than you do the fact that they're getting killed. What are you going to do about it? He's going to speak in a manner that doesn't offend white people. Two things have to happen for change to even begin to even think about happening. One, you have to say the problem out loud. And two, you can't care what white people think. As a matter of fact, if you're being honest and open in the conversation, God damn, look at that. Lord Jesus Christ. I love the film. I'm sorry, I got distracted. I digress. If you're not willing to make them uncomfortable and or upset by simply telling the truth, then you're part of what they're doing. And that's what I saw when he checked himself in that room. And talking about, does everybody know what the problem is? And they're saying police brutality. I need specifics. The problem is police murdering ninjas in the street and then nothing happening after it happens.
Okay.
And this league being more upset about a protest than the fact that we're being killed. And he was not willing to say it. So, in my opinion, when he did his tongue and played that game over a check that he does not fucking need, he let us the fuck down. No different than Barack Obama not speaking on black shit after that one time he did it and they said, nigga, don't do it again. Any position that doesn't allow you to be a black man does not benefit us. You're not changing shit. It's a seat at the table, but it's a seat at the table for you to benefit yourself, not us. And that's fine. But he's not doing this to help us. He's helping him.
And Ninja.
And I'm not even mad at him for that, but he's not helping us, though.
Ninja, to your point about that, I just want to kind of lay out the diversity in that room. So you talked about it earlier, Maestro. You said Angie Martinez was in that room. Charlamagne the God was there. I was watching TMZ, and they were saying that there were other people of African American descent in that room. You had Tiki Barber, however you want to feel about Tiki Barber, but he was in that room. You had theroot.com, which is the two brothers that's got the website that discusses black issues and things like that. They were in the room as well. I think, and to your point, Ninja, I think what's more disappointing is that I don't think Jay-Z got peppered enough with questions in regard to what his plan was. Well, in regards to some of the issues that are playing in the community. I would have liked to have heard from every single black individual in that room.
But you do realize that it was more footage that was not released, though.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
sure. So we don't know what questions. Like, so Charlamagne came out on. They called him at TMZ or something somewhere, and he said, "I just wanted to let it be known that I asked him way tougher questions that didn't make the cut. That didn't make it."
Okay.
So I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
So that's the NFL possibly. Trying to circumvent some issues that might have happened in that room, in that dialogue.
Sure.
Hey, look, man, I appreciate you, that Ninja. Like, look, I always want you to come here and talk your shit on my show or our show. I got a little personable. I don't talk your shit, man. Look, if I disagree with you, I'm just gonna disagree with you. Yeah. Talk your shit, man. But before I let you go, I do want to say that in the grand, I think if we believe as a people that the grand we shall overcome, if we believe that there are going to be different people that have different paths towards that goal. I think if we all have the same goal, I think that we shouldn't be fighting each other. And I think that's what's key. People trying to draw this narrative against with Colin Kaepernick versus Jay-Z, and that's not really in my mind. That's not really what's really important. What's important is that Colin Kaepernick wants us to stop black people to stop getting killed. Jay-Z wants black people to stop getting killed. And however they go about that path to try to achieve that goal, I think if they're all and anybody else who's trying to achieve that goal, of course we should bounce ideas off of each other. But the whole separating and with Nessa throwing jabs and Eric Reed throwing jabs, like, the social media shit ain't necessary. Go talk to that man, and let's not pretend like if you really wanted to have a conversation with Jay-Z, because they have admitted to having conversations with Jay-Z before. I know Nessa Nitty knows Jay-Z personally. All this social media shit. Nah, had a conversation behind closed doors, and let's really have a conversation, because I think the biggest disappointment for me in this situation is that we not united.
Well, I got you there, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But again, when he did what he did, dude, he already let you know I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I get what you're saying. Okay, I guess my thing. Okay, if you're saying like if we all had the same goal, we should respect each other to a certain extent. But if I can tell you factually why the way you're going about it isn't going to work, then I need to have that discussion with you. If we disagree, we disagree. Now, if you want to do it JZ's way, let's just say he is trying to do it, that's fine. But let me give you this, though, and I'll get out of here.
Yeah.
If we want to do it through their system, which is basically what he's trying to do, we're going to work with them, dialogue and all that bullshit. If that's what we're going to do, we can do that and hope things will go together. But if we get any change, number one, it's not going to be significant. It's not going to be what we deserve. It's going to be pacification. And on top of that, you're not going to see it in your lifetime. Your kid's not going to see that shit. Your kid's kid is going to be the one that gets the benefit from it. The reason why I say that, I don't say shit without backing it up. When we got freed of slaves in 1865, 1867 in Texas, 100 fucking years later, we got the right to vote. That's what fucking with that system and working through them will get you.
But it did happen, though, my brother.
100 years later, brother, I'm just saying, like, if we're going to do it, we need to recognize and say it out loud. We can do it this way, and it's going to be slow. I'm not going to see it. You're not going to be able to get on YouTube and say, we out here changing shit. Everybody look at this video. It's none of that. You're not going to get any instant gratification. You can start the process and hope your kids get to reap the benefits. So, I mean, it could be done, but it's going to be slow, methodical, and it's going to be pacification as opposed to what we deserve. Respect. Hey, man, look, thank y'all for having the show. Taking a lot of people to hang up, not listen to the opinion, talk shit about you when you're not around. So I respect y'all at the end of the day for having a dialogue, whether I agree or not.
All right, appreciate you, bro.
No doubt, man.
All right, man. Y'all be easy, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Let me just say, that ninja, shout out to that ninja. That called, I know this went an hour long. I'm sorry, I felt like this was an important conversation. I don't know how you felt about it. If it dragged,
it's an important conversation. It's no question about it. But you know, I don't want to sound like I'm being pet about not being able to speak on this stuff. But I mean, we really got a lot. I know you got a lot to say in regard to it. I definitely have a lot to say about it. And
because look. Again, this is important for our culture. Did you have something to add?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, add.
I got plenty to add.
Yeah, because some of this shit we really don't got to talk about. Like, this is important.
Yeah, no, this is important, and I think what else is important is, and I want to defend Jay-Z for a second here because, and even before we got on the show here, and Ninja said it briefly. In regards to his situation with the Brooklyn Nets and folks saying how he sort of didn't come to his promise in terms of the, affordable housing in the neighborhood, downtown Brooklyn. Listen, let me tell y'all something. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I went to high school 5 blocks from where Barclays Center stands right now. That land that Barclays stands on right now, that used to be a train yard. Half of that used to be a train yard, and the other half of that used to be an apartment building. I don't know if it was affordable housing. I don't know if it was just regular rent, but it was just a regular apartment building, and then across the street was the train yard. So for anybody that thinks that, Jay-Z is to blame for the so-called gentrification in Brooklyn, and particularly that area, bruh, that area was under gentrification long before the Nets even thought about moving to Brooklyn. That particular area, and as far as Jay-Z's influence, his influence is not to be ignored. When the Nets came to Brooklyn, who decided, hey, we're gonna have Biggie night a couple times, every season? Jay-Z was the influence behind that. What people don't understand about that neighborhood, and in particular neighborhoods, in connection with that one, is that there are a lot of Biggie murals in the neighborhood. And here's why I'm saying that this is so important, because we talk about gentrification, and we talk about how whether you're of the opinion that it's not good for black people, or it's not good for all black people, or it benefits some black people. Let me tell you something. It took a long time for St. James Place, which is a street that Biggie lived on, to get the street Christopher Wallace Way named after him. It took a long time for that to happen. You don't think there was influence behind that? You don't think there was influence behind all the Biggie murals? Because let's be honest, whenever white people come in, developers, they want to gentrify a neighborhood, and we see it in DC. We talk about, you know, hashtag don't mute DC. Mm-hmm. Cats wanted to get rid of the Biggie murals, and people was like, nah, you can move in, you can open up all the hookah bars all you want, you can open up the Starbucks, whatever, but you're not getting rid of the Biggie murals. Mm-hmm. That takes influence right there. Yeah. And Jay had a part in that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like the conversation of gentrification we need gentrification, but not at the expense of culture.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's an example. That's what I wanted to share, is that Ninja might feel a way about Jay-Z in that this is just the same old song. We've seen this movie so many times when a black prominent person comes in and really nothing changes. Jay-Z's track record speaks for itself. Yeah. And again, if you want to bring up the downfall of Rockefeller Records, fine. But the track record, the track record, and especially recently, the track record speaks.
Well, I don't think anybody, because Rockefeller Records has nothing to do with this. I don't think anybody. No, it doesn't
have anything to do with it. But people bring it up in a way to say, "Oh, Jay-Z's made some shrewd business decisions." Well, that's what you do in business. Sometimes in business, you make mistakes. You piss people off with the decisions you make.
I hear you.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's business. It's money. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that sometimes, gets in the way of relationships. Unfortunately, it's making tough decisions. Yeah. And Jay-Z's had to do plenty of that.
Yeah. Let me. Mac Farrell asks, what policy change is Jay-Z / NFL collaboration going to actually bring about? I don't know. I know that having and to kind of rehash a point that that Ninja was said when he was on the line, mm-hmm. that no one black man is going to change a whole institution, and he's 100% correct.
Right.
But to say that bringing in Jay-Z won't light the fire under some other asses of people who can get things done. Mm-hmm. I think that is very possible. I think that's very possible for Jay-Z to be the start of something that's going to, like, people talk about Pac's influence and how Pac used to say, I might not be the one that's going to bring about change, but mm-hmm. I'm going to be that spark mm-hmm. to that person that brings about change.
Right.
This could be that situation. You gotta I always hear Charlemagne say this, but there's in any revolution. I think there are engagers and resistors. There are people who want to work with the problem, yep. and there are people that are going to work against the problem. But I think it's important that as long as engagers and resistors understand that both sides are working towards the same goal. You have debates, but then you respect what they doing mm-hmm. because they trying to do the same thing you doing.
Yeah,
and that's how you stay united. And if we ever going to see some change, the one thing that we have to be is united. McFarland also says, so basically people in Brooklyn held out for some graffiti on the walls. It's deeper than that. If you've ever been in a,
I'm sorry, yeah,
it's deeper than that.
Don't even think about it in just that context. It's much deeper. It's so much deeper than that. Listen, Matt. If you Google hashtag Don't Mute DC and read what that's all about, I think you'll further understand that particular situation. And even on the face value, it's so much deeper than that. So we got a caller in here.
Caller, what up?
What's up?
Hey, what up?
What's happening?
Pops, what's good, man?
What's going on, y'all?
What's going on?
Fam is back.
Yeah,
y'all back, huh?
Yeah, we back in the building, man. What's up, Bob? What's going on?
That's what's up. Hey, so, how was the vacation? All right.
It was good, man. The vacation was good, man. I'm trying to not talk about the vacation and talk more about some sports.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, thank you.
I just, I went to the game. I went to a game. I saw Yankees to get their behinds with, the I think it was last week. And record setting, 19. But I wanted to ask you, I don't really know what y'all was talking about as far as topic, but as far as sports, you know.
You don't wait. So, Pop, you don't know about the Jay-Z NFL collaboration? You didn't know about that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. This is something new, Maestro. He had no idea about Jay-Z partnering up with the NFL. So I guess Pop. So we got to school you a little bit on what's going on here. So there was a press conference between Jay-Z and Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL. It was part of it was televised. The whole thing wasn't televised, but there were people in the room asking Jay-Z questions about what his goals were in terms of trying to help. Bring social injustice and police brutality back to the forefront.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know they were partnering up. I heard they were talking. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's some criticism on both sides of it. A lot of people like this collaboration, and then there's people that sort of doubt this because of the way the NFL operates, and pretty much them showing you how they feel about the causes that plague us as a community. And so that's sort of what we've been talking about, is sort of whether this is going to be good for the NFL. Is it good for Jay-Z? How is it a disadvantage to to the fans and to these, to the parties involved? So that's what we were discussing.
Now that, because I was listening to some talk radio, and of course there were, people who, like you say, negative, it's controversial. Of course it's going to be, because you're dealing with two great, you're dealing with a great organization, number one, and then you're dealing with something that everybody is really getting on board with as far as social injustice. Mm-hmm. So to collaborate those two things, I mean, first of all, it'll be unprecedented in the sense that from where Jay-Z is from.
Right.
Okay, and of course the doubters, it's always, because when you reach it for the stars, people are always they're gonna have doubts, and they're gonna have it can't work, and the negativity and all that. But for me, if you look at it, the NFL, they really have. I don't see who has any choice in the matter when you can really get down to it, because when you talk about the players, I mean, they people, the players, they all come out of the neighborhoods where all this injustice is taking place. So, I don't see where the NFL really has a choice in that matter in terms of, I mean, to me, I don't see what.
Now, what do you mean? Now, what do you mean by the NFL doesn't have a choice? Like, what does that pertain to?
It's a good deal for them. It's a good. I mean, it's good. I mean, really, I have nothing against the NFL. I mean, that's a good move. It's a good move. The collaboration, as far as them,
But Pop, a question for you: Do you think that with the influence of Jay-Z being in the room now, do you think that the NFL is going to change their stance on how they feel about us as a community? And it may not be genuine. They may just have to do things just because of the presence of Jay-Z, but the fact that it's being done, or the fact that some change is taking place, is being taken place. You think that's possible?
Yeah.
I don't want to say not possible, but do you think the league is going to do that?
Yes, I think yes, and it's been done before. It's not the first time. It's been done before, where sports and just, as far as community wise and the things that's going on in the community, where those things have come together. I mean, I always figure that it would be the guys that are in the game, playing the game, would be the ones. I mean, Jay-Z really, sport, of course, there has to be some people, who, as far as,
are you talking about like John Carlos Stanton, Muhammad Ali? You talking? Is that what is Jim Brown's? Is that what you okay?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you're talking about moments. You're talking about specifically moments where athletes stuck up for social issues and things of that nature, and they made they did make moments. But I think it's safe to say that those moments didn't necessarily transition into change. It just was a great moment that we talk about years down the line.
Right,
we made history, but we didn't make change per se.
You know what? You really can't say that, Maestro. If because if you look at it, I mean, these guys were fighting for. Look, a guy like Muhammad Ali, when he steps up to the plate, he's not just stepping up to the plate for, social injustice per se.
Yeah.
He's stepping up to the plate so that he can make a living. Because they're denying him the right to make a living. That was the whole object of him stepping up. It wasn't because, black people being in jail or, I mean, the man wanted to make a living.
And Pop, you're referring to when he refused to go into the army, right?
Right.
Okay.
And on religious, as far as his religion was concerned.
Right.
And I'm saying that, when you talk about change, it's a small thing, but not to the person who's stepping up. You got to remember that the as far as financially and money wise, look, this guy's trying to make a living.
Yeah.
So if you look at how things have changed over the last 30, 40 years, where the money is concerned,
that's a good point.
Then you're talking about, man, that's a big change.
Yeah, you're right.
And not only for men, but now women also. It only takes one. It takes one, and then it's going to take a number of people. The change, you may not see it right away, but if you look at it, you'll see it. You'll be able to see it because, like with women, the same thing. In certain sports with women, like tennis, it took, to step into that organization, it took a player, of great magnitude. It took somebody who was really good at what they did. Really loved what they did, and they were fighting for the right to make money, to be a part of that process.
Right.
Okay, and once you want to do that, and that's the reason you get in there. Now you're in there. Now you can do a lot of other things with social injustice because there's so many different things that need to be addressed. There's so many things, but you got to start somewhere.
Right.
I think in the last 30, 40 years, it's been tremendous, especially in sport. And that's what I'm saying. As far as Goodell, he really has no choice.
Yeah.
He has no choice. Because, and history shows us that. And, Ali wasn't really even the first one.
Yeah, for sure. Jackie Robinson. I mean, it's plenty of people
exactly.
before. Yeah, plenty of people before. I agree.
And even Ali used to talk about Jack Johnson. People weren't happy with him because of the choices that he made on both sides of the track. Because back then it was like a black and white thing. More of a, you can't do this, you're not allowed to do that. And he was determined to do whatever basically as long as he wasn't hurting anybody. He was determined to make a living at what he was doing. And enjoying what he was doing. I mean, and the man, you know, but you still had people, his own people, so to speak, at that time, that weren't on board with that. You know, so it's a big barrier. You know, it's a big barrier. But I think once he's in there, the people that's going to get behind Jay-Z, because it's not just him. It can't just be him.
Yeah. Right. Yep. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It has to be the players themselves, and they have to experience. And a lot of these players have experienced what it's like to have these organizations take control of their lives. I mean, you know, you're in it for the entertainment. They with you 1 minute, they turn on you the next. And when they turn on you, it's not, you know, your ability to make a living comes into question, comes into play.
Mm-hmm. And Pop, to that point, Pop, let me cut in for a second. To that point, Jay-Z at one point was criticized for starting up Rock Nation Sports. The criticism was, this guy doesn't have experience as an LFL agent or a sports agent. But what people didn't understand at the time is that Jay-Z has an army with him. He's going to have people that are experienced in sports agency working with him. He's just the face, but he's going to have the people to put that in place.
Yeah.
So, but Pop, I appreciate you calling in, man. We got to go.
Yeah.
We got to roll. So.
Yeah, but like if you know, the change from the time that we was, you know, we always been struggling. The struggle is nonstop. The struggle is nonstop.
Yeah.
And I got to look at it as a good thing. It has to be a good thing. Of course, you're going to have not just haters. It's just people, I don't know, ignorance, whatever. But
it's always going to be good and evil. I got you.
There you go. And you know for a fact that anytime somebody's trying to stop you from making money, it's going to be a problem. It's a problem. And you start eating good food in my kid's mouth, it's a problem.
Yeah,
now I got to knock somebody in the head.
Word.
Now I got to knock somebody in the head.
No doubt. No doubt.
Hey, Pops, we appreciate you, man. We got to make
all right, man.
All right, be safe out here.
Y'all, man.
Love you too.
All right,
man. One love, man. Appreciate you, man. All right, man. No doubt. Hey, we got to transition into these other stories here.
Some of these stories,
you know,
some of these stories just ain't finna make.
All right, yeah, that's
but
fine.
I do want to say, just to close the situation on a lighter note, I do wish that they would have hired Jay-Z last year.
Now, why last year?
Because last year, the Super Bowl was in Atlanta, Georgia, and the only representation that was of Atlanta was Big Boy. And
with whom I think he told to not do the performance.
No, he told
is that right?
Scott not to do it.
No, I know that, but I think he also told Big Boy not to do it.
I didn't hear that, but
that's what I heard.
Yeah, but I think if with Jay-Z at the helm of that, we would have had a better halftime show in Atlanta, the home of black hip hop.
But here's some good news: Super Bowl's going to be in Miami this coming season.
Year.
Yes, Super Bowl's in Miami, home of Rose. But Rose Pitbull.
I don't want to see Pitbull.
You know, I know. I'm being playful as I'm starting to list these Miami artists.
Bring Trina.
Trina and Trick. I was going to say Trina. I was going to say Trina and Trick.
See is Trina and Trick.
But you know,
and they could do Take It to the House, and that's a nice little
sure. Pitbull gonna bring numbers though. You don't want to see him, but Pitbull gonna bring numbers.
But see, if we're going by that, I already know who the lineup's going to be. It's going to be Flo Rida, Pitbull. Like I don't want to see that shit. I'm with you. J-Lo might be there. I get you, but
the numbers will be. The numbers are gonna be there.
I'm worried about the numbers. I'm worried about.
Yeah, I know. We're not worried about numbers, but the league
want representation. Damn it,
the league.
I want representation.
Is worried about numbers.
I want to be entertained. And I want to be entertained by my people.
No, I hear you.
So bring Trina and Trick.
I hear you.
Do Nan Nigga at the Super Bowl.
Trina, Trick.
Mixed with Take It to the House.
Rose.
I mean, I do want to see Rose, but I'm talking about Super Bowl. I want to see Trick and Trina do Nan Nigga.
No
mixed
doubt.
with Take It to the House. and I'm good.
No doubt.
I'm good.
No doubt. Let's just get into the Rich. I was going to say Rich Hill. Rich Paul. With the NCAA's ruling that, and I'm paraphrasing, that you have to have a bachelor's degree, to become a sports agent.
And then LeBron came in.
Yep.
Shut that shit down.
Yep.
That rule got
it got a name.
That shit got kicked. That rule got kicked out real fast.
Yes, it did.
Because you're not about to fuck with LeBron James.
That's
the type of power I'm talking about.
Sure, and but not just mess with LeBron and Rich Paul, but the future Rich Pauls, the future LeBrons.
I don't think the NBA gave a fuck about that. I think the NBA gave a fuck about
but the people that aspire to be Rich Paul give a damn about that.
Right, but I don't think the NBA is saying they put that rule in place to slow Rich Paul down. That's what that rule was in place for.
I think that rule was put in place to slow down the future Rich Pauls.
Okay. I think that was specifically for Rich Paul. I hear you.
Because think about this.
I feel you if you're thinking retroactively. I'm saying from this. Obviously, we speculating from the perspective of the NBA.
Right.
I think they said this nigga Rich Paul is taking over the NBA, and we got to stop it. That's what I think they did.
Sure, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I think about this when this story first broke. I thought about that Dr. Umar interview on the Breakfast Club a couple years ago, where he talked about back in the 50s and 60s where black men had these trades: electricians, plumbers, HVAC. Installers, that kind of a thing. They didn't need, bachelor's degrees to become electricians. These guys, made a living off of trade work so that they could, provide for their families. And, years later, they kept throwing these, you got to get a bachelor's degree for this. You got to, you got to get a master's. All this stuff so that we're consumed in student loan debt, and I apologize if I'm kind of taking this to a different topic, but it is what it is. This is what I think about when I think about what the NCAA was trying to put in place. Is that now you're trying to now engulf us in a system to where we gotta get a degree now for this. Okay, so guess what? Thousands of kids aspiring to be Rich Paul got to get bachelor's degrees, and chances are they're not going to be able to pay for school out of pocket. They got to go to the government and borrow money, and then interest rates are going to be out the wazoo, and now they in debt. So that's what I think about when I come to this rule. But shout out to LeBron James, man, and that's the kind of
obviously nothing has came out and said LeBron James came out and said no, we ain't doing this.
Right.
As far as we know, it was just a tweet where he said,
sure, but it's influence.
Yeah, but I feel like LeBron James went in there and went to somebody and said, nah, this ain't gonna happen because of this. You're gonna let my man get his money.
Yep.
You're gonna let my man continue to run this league like he's been doing it behind the scenes.
Yep.
And if you don't let my man do what he do, it's going to be detrimental to your bottom line because LeBron James controls so much of that bottom line.
Right. Now, question. I've been hearing that Rich Paul didn't go to college to get to where he was at. Now, I thought years ago there was a story where LeBron paid for his homies to go to college, get degrees, and come out. So I'm not sure which is true or not.
Well,
I wasn't sure.
Well, maybe you misheard the story, or maybe you misread the story.
Maybe.
I feel like if that was the case,
then this wouldn't be sure. Yeah. But I just asked because it was conflicting stuff.
And I do want to get this opportunity to shout out Chris Broussard, who, when the Rich Paul rule was put in effect, he immediately went out on his Instagram and put out a post that was basically saying, all right, y'all want to do that?
Yep.
Well, all black kids, let's try to get these HBCUs up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I appreciate him for saying that.
I appreciate that too.
Yeah. Because truth be told, and even amidst all this, obviously the Rich Paul rule is, non-existent.
Yep.
But I would still love to see black players going to HBCUs and up in those schools,
up in the stock of those schools.
I still would love to see Howard have a good football and basketball team and have a star
absolutely
that could really.
We have 5 HBCUs in this area, I should say state.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's a really great idea for those schools to get put on the map.
Yeah, I would love for them to be able to get top talent.
Yes.
To really be able to compete. I think Salisbury one year was not Salisbury. Eastern Shore was 1 year was in the tournament. I think I remember that happening 1 year. Like
they were in the tournament. Yeah,
maybe it was 10 years.
It was. I was going to say it was within the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
but but full disclosure, do you know the other HBCUs in the area? Can you think of the other 4? We mentioned Howard, and you mentioned UMES. Can you think of the other 3?
No.
Bowie State.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess I should have known that one.
Morgan State and Coppin State.
Yeah, I guess if I really thought, I just didn't want to. I'll be honest with you, I just didn't want to play the guessing game. I know. I'm sorry.
You're no fun. All right.
I'm sorry. Because I certainly would. I guess if I really would have thought about it, I would have figured out. Only one I would have missed was Coppin State.
I was going to say you probably would have missed Coppin State.
Yeah, I would have missed Coppin State.
You're boring nonetheless. Yeah. Brian Scalabrine versus Michael Rappaport.
That shit is fake.
I have to think it was.
That
too.
shit is fake.
I
think that shit was fake.
I had to really think. It was.
So it's funny. It's that shit was fucking fake. So I was earlier today. I saw it on Facebook, and then today I went. I was like, what? Let me see what happened. Like, what the fuck happened?
Right.
So I went to Twitter. Nobody was covering it. I went just Googled it. Mm-hmm. Nothing popped up.
Mm-hmm. That's a surprise. No, it popped up for me.
I mean, the video popped up, but nothing saying, no real story that outlined what happened.
Got you.
Why he was like that. The only thing that popped up were videos of them constantly having interactions that were jokey, and then this.
Right.
And I tell you, man, I was a little disappointed. And then it's fake because I realized no, Big Three didn't make a statement.
And you know what? It's a surprise to me.
It wasn't covered on no type of news report show, sports show, nothing.
Well, it was a surprise to me in a sense that the Big Three is now contracted by CBS to air the games. The previous years it was Fox. And historically Fox is known to be a little more like, they kind of could get away with a little bit more than like the big three networks and stuff, and especially CBS. Because they kind of hold themselves to a little higher standard. So I was a bit surprised that nobody had said anything like, "Oh, was the chairman of CBS Sports going to come out and say, hey, we don't condone what happened with the interview. Like, that's not professional." Like, I was surprised at that. So if it's fake,
I think that shit was fake, man. And I'm gonna tell you something good. We don't need that shit.
Because God forbid if it was 2 black men doing that.
We don't need that shit. Like, we don't need that shit.
It'd be all over.
I was by the time I came to the conclusion that maybe 4:15 today. By the time I came to that conclusion, I found myself disgusted and irritated. It's no need for that. And Ice Cube, not necessarily Ice Cube, because I'm sure I don't know what his involvement was. The people who control content in between games, find something better to do. Like, come on, don't waste my waste my damn time. Don't waste my damn time.
You're not TNT.
Like this. That was just stupid.
Because that type of
I don't even care that you had me going until I found out how illogical the shit was.
That type of content, TNT could pull that off. No other network can do that and get away with that.
I don't want to see that shit on TNT because I thought that shit was real at first. I thought Brian Scalabrine really had a problem with Michael Rappaport, and he was threatening that nigga, like threatening to kill that nigga, and his wife wasn't going to miss him, and his Netflix, like the fuck out of here, like fuck it out of here. And then
fake thugs, man.
Yeah, like fuck out of here, Brian Scalabrine.
Got some fake thugs,
and Michael Rappaport. And let me play the other side real quick, just in case that shit was real. Michael Rappaport, you pussy.
Is this from the previous time we talked about Michael Rappaport?
This is adding
and Meek
on.
Mill?
This is being added on from that. Yes, you pussy. You pussy, sir. You are a pussy, sir. And that's all I got to say about it. If you don't like it, see me.
So look, we talked about HBCUs, the previous topic. So Steph Curry is helping relaunch the golf program at Howard University. The first one that they ever had was like back in the 50s or something like that. And actually, the person that actually reported this had to be checked because he was reporting that this was the first ever golf program at Howard, when in actuality it's not the first. Okay. So shout out to Steph Curry, always doing something positive.
Do we know what happened to the old golf pro? I guess nobody was playing golf in DC.
They had some players. There were some pictures, and I really didn't get a good glance at it. Like I said, it was like in the 50s.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay,
gotcha. It was in the 50s.
So basically, yeah, okay,
and then since then they decided to not.
They definitely didn't want niggas playing golf in the 50s.
That. So right, so but to that reporter that got it wrong the first time, this is the second stint. There was a first stint before.
Well, I'm sure he's been corrected, like you said.
Oh yeah. He's been given the smoke already. But just want to shout out Steph Curry, for doing something, continuing to be amazing again in terms of being off the court and making something positive happen, especially with the HBCU at that.
That light skinned nigga got to figure it out. I give him that. Yeah. He got to figure it out. Yep. He ain't really making no mistakes. No doubt. That's another dude that should be commended, man. He ain't in the media on no wild shit. He's out here, being one of the best players in the game. Word. And loving his wife and kids, and
having a great family. Man. And, Mama Sonia look good. I'm just throwing that in there.
But sister look good too.
Yeah. You watched that Red Table interview?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Okay.
I watched. Did I watch the whole thing? Yeah, I think I did.
Okay. I didn't watch the whole thing.
I think I did end up watching the whole thing because I did want to hear in context. How Aisha got to that, what she got about, what she got to. Right. I mean, my opinion didn't change, but
nothing changed.
But I did want to know just in case my opinion changed.
Sure, nothing about my opinion about that changed either. Well, I wanted to hear from Sonia because I don't hear her, speak enough.
Oh, she didn't really speak.
She didn't say much, but she said, something. She said more. She said more than what I've heard her from any other platform.
Have you ever heard her talk? Have you ever heard her talk besides that?
That's my point.
Oh, you made it seem like there were points where she had an opportunity to speak and she didn't speak.
No. I was saying
you're just saying that she's never on a platform.
Right, and I was interested to watch the interview because I wanted to hear from Sonia because I don't hear her. No, I didn't watch the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched parts of it.
Gotcha.
We got to say a big rest in peace to the homie Cedric Benson, man. Killed in a motorcycle accident with his girlfriend.
I didn't know all that. I just read
girlfriend passed away too. So rest in peace to the girlfriend as well, man. I had an opportunity to look over some of Cedric Benson's stats over the years. Obviously, excellent college football player at Texas. Came into the league with the Bears. And it really was the backup in Chicago, even during the Super Bowl run they had. Thomas Jones was the number one there. I thought what was more disappointing in that particular Super Bowl was the fact that Cedric Benson didn't get no burn in that game. I felt like they could have kept that game a little closer had they, utilized them a little bit more than what they did. You know what I'm saying? But, that's either here nor there. Pretty solid career with the Bengals. 3,000-yard rushing seasons as the number one back. So at least he was able to prove himself on that level. Because you don't see a lot of running backs who start off as second string guys get first string opportunities elsewhere with a second contract. Mm-hmm. You think of guys like Michael Turner, Cedric Benson, and maybe a couple others out there, but you don't see normally running backs get those kind of opportunities like that. So again, rest in peace to Cedric Benson, man.
Yeah. And I guess we spoke about it on Fish and Grits, but to the people who missed that show,
what? The diva.
Yeah. And look, AB is still fighting about this helmet situation. Mm-hmm. And look, I know everybody. It seems
But you know what? He should be.
That's what
he should be.
My opinion has not changed. Mm-hmm. He's going. Is he going about it the wrong way? Yes. Should he?
Now, what way is that?
I mean, just being bitchy about it. It just seems like it seems to me he's acting like a female about it.
Okay, and I don't know, and that's why I asked.
The tweet, the niggas for life tweet. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay. You ain't gotta do all that, bro. Like all the you ain't gotta for real.
Okay.
And I think this is a lost art. Mm-hmm. You ain't gotta go to social media every time you don't like something.
Okay, because a part of me was thinking because the Raiders are on Hard Knocks on HBO that they're just getting more exposure, and AB's getting more exposure along with that.
I don't think AB needs no more damn exposure. I think. I mean, here's the thing: people talking about him not coming to practice. If he's going to come to practice and participate in practices that require him to wear a helmet, he don't want to wear a helmet. So why would he come to practice? Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me.
It's a form of protest.
But I mean, could he have just came and kicked it with the players? I don't maybe. Mm-hmm. But probably not. Your coaches ain't gonna be sitting there watching you. Chop it up, and while you know what I'm saying, they gonna want you to participate.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you gotta look.
Do you think a side of him thinks I'm the best receiver in the game? No way in hell they're getting rid of me, so I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it, whenever I do it.
Let me say, I hope not, because there could be a situation. There's a situation in his contract where he could lose a lot of money,
no doubt.
So a lot of guaranteed money at that. Mm-hmm. So I hope that's not what he thinks. But with that being said, I agree with him. Look,
he should fight for the helmet he wants.
Look, he should fight for the helmet he wants. I get it. There are updated helmets, but at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own health. So let's say, and I'm only rehashing it for our listeners. Obviously, like I said, we talked about it on Fish and Grits. What if he says, you know what, fuck it, I wear the helmet y'all want to wear, and then he ends up with CTE?
Mm-hmm. Right. NFL ain't gonna care.
They're not gonna care.
They're not gonna care at that point.
They're gonna say, well, we did the best we could.
Yep.
So,
and that ain't good enough.
The way I see it, you should let him wear the helmet he wants to wear. Mm-hmm. And make him sign a piece of paper saying, "Look, I decline wearing your helmet." It should be a player's choice, not just Antonio Brown, but Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all those players who conceded. And I don't care about all the other 1,500 players who conceded to the rule. I don't care about that. This one player who puts his life on the line for y'all product every week in practice and so on and so forth, says that I'm uncomfortable using that. I want to use this. And if you want me to bring my value to this team and to this game, to this entertainment.
Yep.
Let me be comfortable.
If I'm Antonio Brown, I would not even if they don't allow me to wear the helmet I want to wear, I will not suit up for any regular season game until you give me the helmet that I want.
Right, but the problem is, what's irritating me is that I don't believe he's gonna do. That's the only thing that irritates me. He doing all this.
You don't think he's gonna hold his side of it?
I don't think he's gonna ride.
You think he's gonna give in?
I think he's gonna give in. I think he's gonna give in.
The money talks. I mean,
that's a lot of money to lose.
Sure,
it's a lot of money to lose. So at the same time, while I'm saying I'm gonna judge him, at the end of the day, it's like,
sure.
Like, nigga, you that's a lot of money to throw away.
And not
but it's for your life.
It's for your health. It's for your health.
This nigga got kids.
And not to compare this situation with Colin Kaepernick, but Colin Kaepernick brought awareness to something and he stuck by it. AB, in a sense, is trying to bring awareness to something, even though he may not realize it.
Yeah, no, I don't think he is. I think it is. I think the situation is.
The situation is. Yeah. Sure, the situation is.
Yeah.
And until somebody advises him, hey, like, yo, you really kind of putting a really good message out here. I think you got to keep it going for the culture here. Until somebody says that to him, he's going to give in.
I think he's going to give in. Look, I don't think he and I don't know. I don't think he's trying to play that role. I don't think he's trying to play the fight the powers that be role for real.
It'd be good if he did.
It'd be nice if he did, and you know,
it'd be good if he did.
In the sentiment of that ninja, we should at this point out that the NFL are not giving players who add value to their product the right to be comfortable to do what they feel they should be doing to protect themselves.
Exactly.
And that should be highlighted.
And in addition to that, we talk about the NFL trying to cover up the social injustice, police brutality conversation. CTE and concussions is another topic that the NFL is trying to cover up here.
Well, so they need to and you know, I ain't gonna hold you. Let that man wear the helmet he want to wear, man. If he and make him and I want to make sure, because this is fair on both sides. I want to make sure he signs the waiver. If you get fucked up, don't come to us talking about I'm suing this, that, and the third. If you get, God forbid, you get fucked up later on in life. I don't want to hear none of that.
And you think that'd be easy, right? Hey, just draft up a waiver and say, hey, AB wants to wear this particular helmet. We, the Raiders, give him the permission to wear this helmet. But if this guy gets hurt under this particular helmet, we are not responsible.
But I'm not talking about like concussion protocol in game. I'm talking about CTE that these helmets are supposed to be trying to prevent.
Yeah,
I'm talking about later on in life. Don't come to me retired 15, 20 years later talking about I'm fucked up and it's because of y'all after you fought me hit tooth and nail to wear this helmet. So I think they're making this a story that it doesn't have to be. I don't know. I don't understand what the NFL's defense on this is outside of we want you to wear what we want you to wear. Yeah,
I hear you. I
don't know.
Sebastian Telfair has been sentenced to 3.5 years for weapons possession, and I really have nothing much to say about this, but the fact that it's disappointing.
He shouldn't be going to jail for 3.5 years for this
weapons possession, and I don't know what the scale is as far as
he should not be doing 3.5 years. He has a gun license in Florida.
Okay,
and he was moving his things to New York.
Okay,
now
the gun charge, New York charged him, right? Is that the story?
He was pulled over. I believe it's New York. I don't know. I didn't check that to be a fact.
Okay,
but he was moving, and he was moving his things, like moving from one place to another to live,
like a house.
Yes, to live.
Yeah,
and he was pulled over for whatever reason. They searched his car. They found the guns in lock boxes.
Yep.
not loaded, all those types of things. Then they tried him obviously, and they gave him 3.5 years for a victimless crime. And it was a lot of weapons. It was a lot of guns, to my understanding. But at the same time, they was all locked up. Nothing was loaded. Nothing. It's not like it was under his seat.
No ammo and nothing.
It's not like it was on his lap under his seat in case a nigga start tripping. He had it packed up. I feel like this is a situation where you say, "Hey, man, you gotta get rid of that," or you got this many days to meet our requirements for having a gun in New York, whatever. I don't know the gun laws. I know they're strict, but I don't know exactly what they are.
And I was getting ready to go to that point, is that the gun laws in the state of New York are strict.
But come on, the dude was moving.
Yeah, I hear you.
And should he have had some type of
man,
should he had researched this maybe before he came to New York with all these guns? Maybe, but
that had like an armored truck or something.
But
drop
come
him
on,
off.
no, just like, bruh, okay, you are clearly breaking the law, but you ain't killing, you ain't hurting nobody, you ain't on the way to hurting nobody,
right?
None of that. You got a couple of days to, fine him. Fine him, okay. Give him a couple of months to get his shit, a couple of days to get his shit together. Let him get an opportunity to right the wrong, and then move on. What you got to send this nigga for jail for 3 years for, almost 4 years for? It's to me, that's you doing too much. You're doing too much.
Yeah, I wish I had a little bit more on the story in terms of like the details. I mean, you kind of summarize, the story and everything. All I know is that the state of New York, the gun laws are strict. Now, whether that means you can't bring out-of-state guns, regardless of license or not, into the state, and what that entails, I don't know. I just think overall, it's a sad story.
Yeah, man.
It's a sad story.
And I don't like. I get it, but I don't like the fact that there's video out. I don't know if you saw it or not. There's video of him when he was sentenced. Right. Of him like basically like begging and pleading. Basically in not liking the sentence, not liking what's about to happen. And he was like in there, addressing the situation, and they painted this narrative of him like begging for it, for his freedom, and that's crazy. It just rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like that.
That's crazy.
I didn't like that shit.
But let me read this real quick. It says Telfair was also arrested in 2007 after a traffic stop when police found a loaded handgun in a vehicle. Now, keep in mind, a loaded handgun, not guns.
We know about it.
Pleaded guilty to criminal possession of a weapon and was sentenced to 3 years of probation in that case.
Yeah.
So
did his time.
So does it sound to me like they're treating this particular case with the guns as strike two, and they're taking the history in consideration to account for the number of years? Like, I agree with you. I think 3.5 is too much, just based on the circumstance and the fact that there were no victims involved.
He told them he had guns in the car.
Right. And I agree with that. I'm just wondering, did they take all this past into account and say, okay, you know what, this cat hadn't learned his lesson. You know what? Nah, man. Let's just. Yeah, no. and again, I disagree with it. Yeah, I disagree with it, but I'm just trying to make some kind of sense of it.
Yeah, 2007. He was sentenced. He did his damn time. He moved and did it the legal way. And in attempts, if he's guilty of anything, he's guilty of being negligent. And I get that, being negligent to what the rules are. In
terms of not researching the situation before,
like how do I transfer this license to New York, or can I transfer this license to New York?
Sure.
That would have possibly changed how he would have about things if he figured out, oh, I can't do this, or I can do this.
Right. And if he couldn't get the information that was needed, maybe the other alternative is, you know what, I might have to leave these guns here and go without them and maybe just figure out something on the other end.
Right, yeah. So is he guilty of anything? He's guilty of being negligent to not figuring that out. But that's a slap on the wrist offense. I'm sorry. And I get it. And the only thing that you're going to get as an argument to make me feel differently is the amount of guns. They said he had a lot of guns. I don't know exactly how many. They said he had a lot of guns.
I mean, we can get a visual, but still, it doesn't do it justice. I feel like
at the end of the day, if he was a licensed gun carrier in Florida, trying to move to New York, give him, like, for instance, when you move, you switch states. I remember you got into the situation when you came to Maryland from New York.
Yep.
And you got pulled over. They told you told them you had a New York license. They said, hey, okay, well, you need to switch your shit. And you got X amount of days to do it.
To get it, yep. Man,
this is that situation.
Man, you remember that story.
Yeah, I remember that. This is that situation.
Yep.
Just, all right, bro, you can't do that here, right? You got to do this, this, and this.
Right.
Or you got to do this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And you got such and such days to do it. You got to come to court in 45 days. I'm just giving them 45 days. If you don't have this remedy, then we can, press charges.
They ain't even give them that.
Yeah, I don't like it.
They ain't even give them that, man.
I don't like it.
So, just some special shout outs before we end the show here. Shout out to the chat room.
Yeah, we shouted out like damn near nobody. Did we shout Mocha Bella?
No, Miss Mocha-Bella, appreciate you in the chat room. We did an earlier shout out earlier in the show, but
and Holly Newsom, did we say hi to
Holly
Mac?
Newsom, how you doing? Mocha-Bella, how are you?
Kesey was in here.
Kesey, not Mocha.
BS3,
Mac Farrell, BS3 was up in here too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see BS3 in here. So. Yeah, man. If we didn't get to you,
I saw Clutch. Shaka was here.
We saw Clutch. I saw Shaka.
Shelly Q. I think we shot.
We shout out Shelly Q.
That ninja. We appreciate you calling in.
Yep.
And anybody, look. I don't know what the stigma is on this podcast. We have open conversation.
Yeah.
We just gonna disagree with you
about anything.
We just gonna disagree with you when we disagree.
We not like these radio shows where we cut you off in the middle of or we hang up on you in the middle of a conversation.
Well, no. Sometimes I might hang up on that ass.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Sometimes it's warranted.
But it's not in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah. If you having a real conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and even if we disagree with your view, we still want you to express your view on it, so that we can combat that, with our views.
So voices can be heard. So points of views can be heard.
No doubt.
So if the stigma is to our listenership and to the people that surround our listenership that we don't like to have these conversations, and you're wrong. Just don't come up with no dumb shit. And don't insult me.
It got to make sense.
And it don't even really got to make sense. Don't come up here and insult me.
It got to make sense. It got to be.
Now we've had people call up here and then that makes sense. Let's be very clear on that. And we've entertained it. I don't mind people not having sense.
I don't recall that.
Don't come up. I ain't gonna say names. I'm just gonna say don't come up here with a disrespect.
Hey,
just don't come up here with a disrespect because you might get cussed out. Like I'm just big on not being disrespected.
Oh, you know what? I do remember.
Yeah, we ain't gonna say names.
No, but I want to. But
we won't say names.
But I know who you're talking about. Yes. So special shout out to that ninja for calling in. Some good content right there. And also special shout out to my pops for calling in.
Yes, sir.
Dropping some knowledge.
It took him a little minute to get there.
It took him a minute,
but he got there.
and some good points right there.
Like father, like son.
So I do take a while to get to my point.
Take a long ass time to get there.
Okay, all right, I'll accept that. All right, that's it for the show, folks. Maestro Styles. If you got nothing else, Trey Frazier. We're signing off. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
This episode of Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast can be listened to on barbershopsportstalkpodcast.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can follow us on our Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, on our Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2, the Facebook page, and our YouTube page. If you have any questions or comments about the show, or if you want to be a guest, please email the show at barbershopsportstalk1